What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I got 4 picks that I've already put down, which I'm going to take you through today. If that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we jump into the picks, got to recap the last video. Went 3-1. That's 2 straight winning days. I'll take it. The picks I gave out pretty good yesterday. But I called out to VIP today that today actually sucked. I wasn't happy with the day. So let me recap on everything real quick for you. VIP went 3.73 units in the profit. Most of that on the NBA, 0.5 units profit on the NFL. And for VIP, I told them that the day sucked. Basically, I posted my best bets first, the first ones I could find. Went 4-1 on those. I took you guys on YouTube through 4 of them, went 3-1. But I went back with VIP, did some more digging, placed another 4 bets, and they all sucked. I lost them all. But good news, 103 units up on the NBA season. Planning to get to 200. We'll see how we go. But let me talk through all these losers, and I can explain why it sucked. Jaden Hardy, that was the bet that we all lost on, if you tailed, over 11.5 points. 1 from 7 shooting in only 16 minutes. He came on, did what I expected him to do, just started firing that thing up. Once he started missing him in a row, I knew his time was done. I honestly didn't hate that bet, even though it didn't deliver today. He came on, did what he was supposed to do. He just didn't make the shots, but the volume in that short amount of time was pretty decent. I also bet on LaMelo Ball over 32.5 points and rebounds. He hit his rebound line, only scored 25 points in 40 minutes, 25 shot attempts. I think I was pretty unlucky with that one. I also bet on Alex Sarr over 7.5 rebounds. If you remember in the last video, I said I like Sarr over 7.5, Valanciunas over 7.5. Which one do I choose? I happen to choose the worst one. Sarr goes under, Valanciunas goes over, and the other 2 bets that I considered, unders on Kuzma and Aaron Wiggins overs, they both cash easy. So that was an awful bet purely because I didn't factor in the game script. Well, I factored in the game script when I was making my analysis, but when I finally made my selection, it's as if that game script wasn't there in my mind. So I'm a bit dirty that I missed that play. PJ Washington, I took him over 7.5 rebounds. He plays 37 minutes. He only had 5 rebounds. Dallas were out rebounded 55-37. The matchup against Denver honestly wasn't the best. I guess I over-relied on form against the opponent because he had a good game against them earlier this season. And obviously his rebound numbers without Luka are great. So I over-relied on those. The matchup was disgusting. Spencer Dinwiddie was the man, not Diddy. Gosh, I don't want to say that name too many times. He might appear. But Dinwiddie was the bet there, and I strongly considered it and didn't take it. Another one was Dame over 3.5 boards. This is a system play. This, I thought it would cash. He had 4 rebounds before halftime. After halftime, stat correction, stuck on 3, finished the game on 3. What can you do? Didn't hate it. But all of our winners were sweat-free. I bet Giannis over his boards, 10.5, finished at 13. Josh Hart over 8.5 boards. Started off a little bit slowly. I got a few messages about that. But again, don't jump the gun. Let the game finish. He finishes 11 rebounds. Mark Williams over 11.5 points. That was the play of the day. He finished at 24. Absolutely killed it. Devin Booker over 24.5 points. He got to 30. Hit some value plays. Mark Williams at 15 plus. Devin Booker at 30 plus. I had a Josh Hart and Giannis double-double parlay. And I hit this a crazy Mark Williams Booker SGP plus 2,000 odds. So really saved the day for us. Let me show it to you. I have to check it out. We bet on Mark Williams to score 15 points, to go over his assist prop, and for Booker to score 30 points. $25 into 525. Hit on Booker 30 plus, 50 into 160. Mark Williams at 15, 50 into 165. And Josh Hart and Giannis with the double-double, 50 into 175. So, look, a pretty decent day overall, but it would have been so much better if I didn't lay those extra bets down. But at the same time, another day of profit. If you're interested in checking out VIP, though, I want to celebrate Mark Williams being an absolute beast. He got us paid today. Use the code MARK. You'll get 50% off your first month of VIP. That's limited to the first 20 redemptions. The link for that's in the video description below. And if you want to try that VIP, get an entry into the Dabble and PARLAYPLay Giveaway. Sign up to either app using my codes below. Deposit $10. Send me an email with a screenshot of your account. If you sign up with both, I'll get you 2 entries into that draw. Once we hit 50 referrals, which we're pretty much close to that. Tomorrow's video, pretty much. Do a draw, $100 to 3 different people who sign up. So this could be your chance. If these aren't available in your area, just send me an email and I'll see what I can do to hook you up with some sort of trial on VIP. Now let's get into these 4 picks. Let's go. So jumping into props, man, it's the best tool you're going to find betting on NBA player props. I ain't telling no lies here. I encourage you guys to check it out. Play with it. 7-day free trial. 25% if you use the code DAFT when you sign up. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick with it. I do plan on doing a lot more tutorials in February as my schedule opens up a little bit more, but play around with it and you'll get my support. You can always reach out to me if you need any help. But let's get into these 4 picks, shall we? The very first one we're looking at is the Detroit Pistons versus the New York Knicks. And I'm betting on Cade Cunningham today. I do like his over on his points plus assists. You can get this at 34.5 at DraftKings, which is the best place. I'm playing at 35.5, but let's talk about it. So Cade, he's over this line in only 13 out of 27 games. Over his last 27, averaging 34.6 points and assists per game. Does have a fantastic matchup to score some points here against the Knicks. So the Knicks, they allow the most points in the pick and roll, even up against Dame today or yesterday, whatever time you're watching this. Dame was absolutely killing them in the first half. Second half, Dame did what he does best. He choked it up and he went cold. Sorry, Dame, catching strays. But the matchup here is fantastic for Cade. So using Props Madness, we can filter this graph to show similar types of matchups. And we're looking at teams that don't defend the pick and roll very well. Now, Cade's taken advantage of these matchups all season. If we look at the bottom 10 teams, we can see that he's over this line in 7 out of 16, 34.6. It's not overly amazing, but he has performed quite well. The challenge here is that his line's a little bit high. His line's a lot higher than it normally would be because of this matchup. The one thing I want to call out here, last time he played the New York Knicks, he had 29 points, 15 assists, 9-point win on the road. They're on the road again, playing in New York. And the one thing I want to call out here is that Cade Cunningham, much better on the road than he is at home. Check this out. 30.6 points and assists when he has an easy matchup at home. When he's on the road and the matchup's a little bit more difficult, he's over in 6 out of 8 games, averaging 38.5 points and assists. Now, this is quite common. You'll find with star players. On the road, star players tend to take more shots, get higher usage rates. At home, your bench, your role players, they tend to play a little bit better. So your stars aren't as depended on. And Cade Cunningham on the road here in the Garden. I think he can put on another show here. I was initially just looking at his points prop, and then I was like, man, his assist numbers are great too. Let's just put them both together. Points plus assists. If you can't get that, I'd go for the points. If you just look at his points in these matchups, he's over in 6 out of 8, 27 points per game. And if you just look at his assists, he's over out of 7 out of 8 games on the road. In these soft matchups, 11.4. The only game he went under was against Boston. Much better defensively against the New York Knicks. Like I said, 15 assists against them last time, 25 potentials. All that screams his high usage rate for Cade. And I think he sees high usage rate again against the New York Knicks, who are also on a back-to-back. So the spread's only 7. Cade Cunningham should get his full complement of minutes. That's the first pick that I'm going to be rolling with, Cade Cunningham. The next one is probably a play that nobody is betting on, but stumbled upon this. And I thought to myself, there's some pretty good value here. So we're heading to the Warriors versus the Raptors, and I'm looking at Buddy Hield. Normally, people want to bet on Buddy Hield when Steph Curry is out, but I actually like that Steph Curry is playing in this game. Makes a ton of sense. So I'm looking at Buddy Hield's assists. Now, his hit rate lately is crazy. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consecutive games, Buddy Hield has covered this line. And what we've seen is Podziemski's been out for quite some time, so Buddy Hield's locked into getting a bit more minutes off the bench. And then more recently, over his last 4 games, Jonathan Kuminga's been out, right? But now you're probably thinking, yeah, but what about Steph Curry and the like? So you can play Props Madness nice and easy to look at games with Steph Curry, without Jonathan Kuminga, to see what the hell's going on here. Now, he's played 5 games with Steph, without Kuminga. Over this line in 4 out of 5 games, averaging 3.2 assists. His line's only at 1.5. Now, the reason why I'm being transparent here, the Raptors soft matchup around assists, but that's not the biggest, that's not the haymaker for this bet. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with this. But the NBA have been giving out assists like candy. Like anyone can get assists these days. And if you watch back the film, most of these shouldn't be assists. And I went back, looked at Buddy Hield's assists in a lot of these games to figure out what the hell is happening. Like, what's going on here? And all it honestly is Buddy Hield just out there hooping. He's playing basketball. I saw him run like 2 or 3 pick and rolls and get an assist that way. Most of it, he's just passing the ball around the perimeter. Steph Curry might get the ball, pump fake, 3 dribbles, step back, 3-pointer, assist to Buddy Hield. Well done, mate. Like, swing around the corner, passes it to Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins takes like 3 jab steps, pulls up for a jump shot, assist for Buddy Hield. So I'm not saying that Buddy Hield's going to go out there and create for anyone. I'm just saying Buddy Hield's going to be out there long enough to get enough. He's not even going to get potential assists, but he's going to move that ball around, and eventually somebody's going to score after he passes on the ball, and he's going to get credited the assist, which is a bit of a scam. It's the NBA these days. They're blowing up the stats, assists. They're hotcakes. Have you noticed that a lot of centers have been racking up the assists from 3, 4, 5? People are now betting on Jalen Duren assists, Jared Allen assists. I know I am. Goga Batase assists. How do you think Isaiah Hartenstein's getting 5 assists a game? It's bullshit. That's what it is. And I think we see a bit of bullshit here. I think Buddy Hield can get 2 assists just through playing basketball, not creating shots for nobody. I do like it. I think it's an interesting look. He's projected to play 25 minutes in this game, and I think he sees it. The game's pretty close. 4.5 point spread here. Buddy Hield over 1.5 assists. I think that's a play that not many people are going to be betting on. In my next one, we are heading to the Houston Rockets versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And for this one, I'm looking at Ja Morant. I'm taking his over 21.5 points. Now, he's over this in 12 out of 22 games, averaging 21 points per game this season. He just played the Houston Rockets not too long ago, scored 27 points in that game in 29 minutes. They lost that game by 4, 22 shot attempts, 11 free throws, 1 from 5 from deep. Now, why do I like it today? Well, first, I look back on film and figure out what's going on here, because I already know how the Houston Rockets play defense. I've said this many times. They will easily allow someone like Ja Morant, any key ball handlers, they'll let them play one-on-one. They'll stay home with shooters, and they'll funnel them into the lane. That's why if you look at the shot zones here and their defense, the Houston Rockets, very good at defending the perimeter, very good at limiting points in the mid-range. The only soft spot for them is points in the paint. And it's not because they're bad at defending the paint. It's because they strategically funnel people into the paint to take difficult layups, right? You prefer to be trading 2s than 3s. They limit 3s extremely well. Ja Morant's going to be forced to drive. Now, Ja Morant in that last game against the Houston Rockets took 22 shots in that game. I had a look at it. He had 5 of those shots. 5 of those 22 were outside of the paint. So he had 17 shots in the paint, which is crazy. He only made 8 of them. He missed so many layups in that game. I think the potential for Ja Morant to have a big game is sky high here. And if you also factor in 2 of those shots were like buzzer beaters, 1 from half court, 1 from close to half court at the end of the game. Realistically, he took 20 competitive shots within that game. 20 of them, more than half of them were in the paint, and he missed some pretty easy layups. So I think there's a real opportunity for Ja to shine in this matchup. You can see it against Houston. He's gone over in both games, 24, 27 points. The first game where he scored 24 points, he only played 24 minutes. They lost by 20. It was a blowout. Ja Morant still took 17 shots in that game. So I'm expecting Ja Morant to see some volume. It's all by design by the Houston Rockets defense. And if we look at games with Ja Morant where he's taken at least 18 shots this season, he's over this line in 7 out of 9 games, averaging 25 points per game. I also like the fact that he just had a bad game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was 5 for 19 and 0 from 4 from deep. The Timberwolves, similar type of defense as the Houston Rockets, I guess, but Rudy Gobert in the paint, Alperen Sengun in the paint, it's a different kind of challenge. So Ja Morant, I do like the volume in this game, and I like him to go over his points prop. I would play this up to 22.5 for sure, because I know this line's at 22.5 in a lot of places. So yeah, Ja Morant, I like his over in points today. My last pick that I want to share with you guys, we're heading to the Miami Heat versus the Los Angeles Clippers, and I'm going with Storm and Norman. I'm taking his over 21.5 points. Norm Powell from the Los Angeles Clippers. Up against Miami, it's a 6-point spread in this game. Should be close enough for Norm to see the projected minutes that he's got, which is about 35 minutes. Now, he's over this line in 13 out of 17 games this season when he sees at least 33 minutes. Let me show you that. There it is. 13 out of 17. You can see he's on in 6 consecutive games. If he plays more than 33 minutes, he's looking good. And the games where he didn't play the 33 minutes or he didn't score these points, he's got this game here against the Houston Rockets, which is an extremely difficult matchup for someone like Norm Powell, 5 for 18. Then there was the Utah Jazz. He played 35 minutes, scored 19 points, shot 35% from the field. Houston, once again, 5 for 18, 28%. So it's just awful shooting nights is the only thing that's going to slow down Norm Powell. And this Miami Heat team, it's a pretty decent matchup for him. Miami Heat allow the 5th most spot-up points to spot-up shooters. What the Miami Heat do is they really focus in on the point of attack ball handlers. So like a James Harden, they're going to sell out to slow down James Harden and limit his effectiveness, which is going to leave someone like a Norm Powell open. He's also got a great combination with Zubac with some handoffs to get some shots above the break. So I do like Norm Powell here, purely in the fact that it shouldn't be a blowout. He should see 35 plus minutes. And when he plays 35 minutes, the man's an absolute bucket getter, 25.9 points per game. And that includes these 4 games where he went well under this line. So other thing I like about it, and this is a tool specific to Props Madness, you're not going to get this anywhere else. Similar types of players versus the Miami Heat. Take a look at this. Buddy Hield, Jordan Hawkins, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Lou Dort, Sam Merrill, Grayson Allen, Klay Thompson, Malik Beasley, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Tim Hardaway Jr. All of these players have very similar scoring profiles to Norm Powell, and they have destroyed the Miami Heat. 11 out of the 14 have gone over. 30% difference from their actual points to their closing line within that game. So I'm like a Norm Powell here to go over his points prop. It's as simple as that. So those are the 4 picks. If you did like them, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop me a comment down below for the algorithm. Every comment that you guys leave help push this video out to more people. I appreciate everybody who does this. Now, this video is coming out probably a little bit later than normal. I'm about an hour and a half to 2 hours behind schedule. The game's a little bit more difficult for me to cap today. Plus, it was extremely difficult to put my kids to bed today. Being transparent with you, I fell asleep while I was trying to put them to bed. So I'm going to go through a deep dive, and not a deep dive, gosh, I'm going to go through a dive with some of my leans. These are some of the things that I was close to betting on. These were the 4 that I landed on, and we'll see if you find some value in that. That sounds interesting. Let's go. All right, Timberwolves versus the Wizards. The first one I had was on Kyle Kuzma. I missed the opportunity to bet his under against OKC today. That was free money. Well, he's got another difficult matchup here against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and his line's moved up from 13.5 up to 15.5. I was definitely looking at the under here. I do like the under. I just don't like it as much. Minnesota, not as good defensively as the OKC Thunder. Minnesota, also, they can drop the ball at times. It's quite weird. It's a 13.5 point spread. There should be a blowout, but Minnesota not necessarily blowing teams out of the water right now. But yeah, I do like the under for Kyle Kuzma. I obviously just like the 4 plays I shared with you a little bit better. So Kyle Kuzma, that's the first lean that I have. The other one was in the Pistons versus the Knicks game, and it was Jalen Brunson. I do like his over 24.5 points. So Cade Cunningham is a great matchup given how the Knicks play defense and how they defend that pick and roll. This Detroit Pistons team's not much better. They allow the 6th most points in the pick and roll, 7th most points above the break. Perfect matchup here for Jalen Brunson. If you just look at similar types of players, they've absolutely killed this Detroit Pistons team. 10 out of 13 players similar to Brunson have annihilated this, from Anthony Edwards to Jamal Murray, Terry Rozier, Brunson himself, Damian Lillard, Halliburton, Levine, Trae Young. Brunson's done it twice, Terry Rozier. So these guys destroyed the Detroit Pistons based on how they play that pick and roll. And I don't see why Jalen Brunson can't do that. On the season, he's hit this in 12 out of 27 games. He has hit this in both games against the Detroit Pistons, though. 36 in 31 minutes and then 31 in 44 minutes. A lower performing game, but that's probably something I would expect to see from Brunson. High 20s, low 30s. Now, he's playing quite well. He just destroyed the Milwaukee Bucks today. He's on a back-to-back. He took 26 shots against the Bucks, but he only played 29 minutes. So that volume, just crazy high at the moment. He has played a few back-to-back games this season. Weak competition, the Bulls and the Wizards, but he is averaging 34 points per game in back-to-backs. So I do like the over here for Jalen Brunson. I guess my only hesitation, he's questionable at the moment with a sore right shoulder. It's not his shooting shoulder, but the fact that he's questionable made me a little bit hesitant. If he was completely healthy, I'd be all over this. Jalen Brunson over his points prop. I think he can have a strong scoring game. The next one in the Warriors versus the Raptors, I was looking at Draymond choke out a Bosnian Green. And for Draymond, I'm looking at his rebounds plus assists. I didn't mind this. I've got this filtered with Steph Curry without Jonathan Kuminga. He's over in 3 out of 5 games, averaging 13 rebounds and assists. Great matchup here against the Raptors. Not great defensively, not great in terms of limiting assists, and they'll give up some boards as well. Not very big inside. So I don't mind Draymond's prop on this. I absolutely despise Draymond Green, but that's got nothing to do with it. I'm not betting emotionally. I really just like the value in Buddy Hield's assists more so than Draymond's, and I didn't want to take 2 bets which are somewhat correlating. That's my only hesitation there of betting on Draymond. But if you're not down with the Buddy Hield play, you might be interested in the Draymond Green one. The other play that we're looking at here is the Grizzlies versus the Rockets. And this is probably going to be a more popular play. Is Jalen Green over his points prop. Quite simply, without Jabari Smith Jr., this guy's been an animal. I took you guys through this last time in that game for Atlanta, which got postponed. But Jalen Green, without Jabari Smith, basically his volume, 4 more shots per game, 8 more points per game without him, 29 points exactly. He scored 27 points against the Memphis Grizzlies 4 days ago, 21 shots, high volume. The matchup is fantastic. The Grizzlies allowing a lot of points above the break. They also allow a lot of points in transition. Jalen Green playing fast as hell in that game. Him and John Morant just sprinting up and down the court, just trying to trade on layups and stuff. It makes a ton of sense. Given the Grizzlies lost that game, I guess I like the potential of an improvement from Ja Morant. That's just in my mind. And for Jalen Green, I feel like he's going to slow down eventually. It's probably not in this game. I honestly do like it. So I just went with Ja Morant, but wouldn't hate you if you went with Jalen Green either. The other one that I considered looking at here was Desmond Bane, over 16.5 points. Now, my whole thought process here for Desmond Bane, not only has been playing extremely well lately, look at that, from the 22nd December all the way up until now, he's covered this line in every single game, except the last game against the Houston Rockets. He scored 16 points in that game against the Houston Rockets in 27 minutes, 10 shots, 60% from the field. Looking at the matchup stuff, it is a little bit difficult. They limit points in transition, spot up, yada, yada, yada. But what I noticed is looking back to film, did you know that Desmond Bane did not attempt a shot in that first half? Nothing. I don't know if it was foul trouble. Didn't look into that specifically, but he only played 27 minutes in that game. The 16 points, or I think he scored 16 or 15 points, all in the second half. He took 10 shots in that second half, and he was very effective. Dylan Brooks was his key defender, and Desmond Bane figured they're not going to give us any spot-up shooting, so he was just attacking the rim. A lot of layup attempts with Desmond Bane. Very similar to Ja Morant. Like their play styles are completely different, but in that game against Houston, Houston funneled them into the paint, and Desmond Bane made quite a few layups. So I figured if he could do that in one half, imagine with what he could do in two halves if he's not in foul trouble, if he does play more minutes. You can see that he normally plays 32 to 37 minutes. So to only get 27 minutes in that game against Houston, it's a little bit strange. But I did like Desmond Bane's. My only concern there was no real concern. I just saw more value in Ja Morant, but I can see the value in Desmond Bane as I talk through this. Yeah, all 10 of his shots are in the first half. He always takes more than that. Let me take a look at his field goal attempts through this range. The lowest volume of shots that he took throughout all of these games since the 22nd of December is 12 shot attempts. So 12 and 14. But he's normally hitting at about 15 shot attempts at least. So, yeah, Desmond Bane, I do like his over in points. Who knows? I might wake up in the morning, love it a little bit more, and then I'll slam the bet down. But the other lean that I did have was the Spurs versus the Lakers. Looking at Victor Wembanyama here. I'll also let you know that I've got no leans on the Lakers. The Lakers haven't played in 6 days. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Are they going to be extra sharp because they've had more time? Are they going to be extra rusty? I don't know what the Fires have done to their preparation, where their mindset is at. So I'm just staying away from the Lakers. But for Victor Wembanyama, I was actually looking at his rebound prop. As of late, been a bit of a monster on the boards. And also, great matchup here against the Lakers. The Lakers, I think they allow the 4th most rebounds to centers or something like that over the last 15 games. So Victor Wembanyama's got a great matchup. I also like this. In 2 games against the Lakers, he had 14 rebounds and 10 rebounds. You might be thinking, yeah, but one of those games he went under 10.5. The thing I like about this is his line in this game was 9.5. And thanks to Props Madness, you can see what the closing line was. So when Wembanyama's line was at 9.5, he finished with 10 rebounds. When his rebound line was at 11.5, he finished with 14 rebounds. So he's actually covered his line for that game above the Lakers in both. That's definitely one that I'm leaning towards. I don't love it as much because what I've just told you are my only reasons for taking it. He's rebounding well lately. The Lakers give up a lot of rebounds. Victor's covered his rebound line against the Lakers in the last 2 games. Outside of that, I've got no extra info for you. But the last lean that I do have is in that Clippers versus the Heat game. And I'm looking at Zubac. And I'm looking at over 12.5 rebounds for him. I only hit this in 12 out of 27 games. His line is quite high. 12.5 is a high line. It's right in line with his average, but they tend to move that line to that point only when he's got a great matchup, and he's got a fantastic matchup here against the Miami Heat. 4th most rebounds, ton of rebounds to centers. Recently, Walker Kessler played them twice, 15, 16 rebounds. Alperen Şengün, he had 18 rebounds against them. 8 of the last 12 similar players have rebounded extremely well against Miami Heat. I do like this play. I don't know if I love it enough at 12.5. The odds for it aren't bad that either. I think the line is right, but I definitely lean to the over here for Zubac. We shouldn't get a blowout, so Zubac should still play in the 4th quarter. But yeah, I do like the Norm Powell points prop a little bit better, but I still like this one. Zubac over 12.5. I'm just trying to be a little bit conservative, I guess, this January. I know it's a little bit freaky when it comes to betting, so trying to be a little bit safe with it. We'll see. I'll probably wake up in the morning, place a ton more bets, but for now, I'm being conservative. But those are all the leans that I've got for you. I hope you guys appreciated the video and you found some value in that. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to sign up to VIP, use the code MARK. You get 50% off your first month. The link for that's in the video description below. I wish you guys the best of luck. Hope we green out again. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.